part.
Yeah, I'm Ben Tegeler. I'm the executive director of Ozark Greenways. We're a nonprofit in Springfield focused on building a community connected by trails, greenways, soft surface trails, and anything to connect you from your house to your park to your neighborhood watering hole, all of the above. Just a short, simple, sweet mission there.
And how is that just in Greene County, or is it?
We're in Greene County, we're in Polk County, we're in Christian County, so it's pretty regional. I coordinate and talk with folks in Joplin, and I've actually been working with some people in California. That's just more advice and consulting, but we get reached out from a lot of places.
Yeah, now is that also associated with Fellows Lake?
So yeah, Ozark Greenways, we run and operate the maintenance of Fellows Lake. So I have one staff member out there managing all the soft surface trails and all the volunteers, and we partner with Mork and Trail Spring and some other organizations. We also manage the Sac River trails by the Northwest Treatment Plant, and then we operate the Frisco Highline Trail, which is a 35-mile rail trail from Kearney Street all the way up to Bolivar. We're a staff of 3 right now.
And that's how many miles?
We're rolling 35 and then 14 and like 28 at Fellows, so that's what we maintain, and then the rest of the system we're building, and we have partnerships with Springfield, Greene County Park Board, or whatever the municipality is that maintains that infrastructure after we build it.
So when you say maintain, what does that look like?
It's out there with a shovel or cutting out weedy vegetation.
Stuff washed out or whatever?
Wash out, rebuilding bridges. It's everything under the sun, from basic vegetation management, rebuilding treads or features out there, bridges. With the storms last year, trees were everywhere, all over. So we're out there with chainsaws organizing people, and we have one staff kind of managing all those. So it's a lot.
Really?
We're looking to build some operational capacity and really shore some of that out. And we're looking for some more equipment to do more. We think we can do things like Northwest Arkansas, adjacent to a soft surface or a hard surface greenway trail, that you could just have a little offshoot, get closer to the creek. You can hike and walk your dog or ride a mountain bike, and have some features in there, and then pop back on with your family.
I like Fellows Lake a lot. It's really great trails.
We're working hard to connect that gap as well. I mean, just while we're talking about Fellows, of the southeast corner, there was a big iconic suspension bridge that was always planned and came back at $15 million, and it's just not reality. So we're pivoting and trying to make that connection, and that's a top priority for us this year.
So that's upcoming this year, or
trying to make the connection. There's a bridge that still needs to happen, which needs engineering and federal permitting and all of these things. But if we can build a short-term connection, just to get a contiguous loop of 35 miles all the way around the lake, that's going to change the whole dynamic. It's already popular. It's already great. If you can start at one trailhead and go all the way around and end where you started, we're gonna.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes, it would be.
Typically, I'm out there. I mean, sometimes I'm out there cycling, but sometimes I'm just walking, and so I don't get that far. When I'm doing that. Any other big upcoming projects that you guys are working on that you're excited about?
We've got a lot. So the Fellows Lake one's kind of like a side quest because it's soft surface and it's a mountain bike hiking. Working on the Chadwick Flyer with Jeremy Parsons and the Ozark team. They've been great. They're kind of bringing that up to the Ozark city limits, and we've purchased property in between Greene County and Ozark. In the Christian County section, we've got a rail corridor, and we're working on one last easement to try to blend that into one capital campaign to finish it up to the Greene County section. And then we just got $1.8 million in funding from the Springfield City Council and the Citizen Advisory Board. That's that new half-cent spring forward sales tax. That's for transformational projects, parks, and implementing Forward SGF. And so we have $1.8 million to build from Kissick, where the power plant is at Lake Springfield, up to Trail of Honor or the James River Greenway, which then would connect you into the Galloway system and get you up. That's funded for construction. The rest of the Chadwick corridor all the way up to Sunshine is funded for engineering and design. That'll be wrapped up in July. And we also are working on engineering construction documents. Again, no funding to build it, but they're shovel-ready plans. Just throw them out there, and when funding comes, we can execute that. For a Lake Springfield bridge across from Lake Springfield to the Chadwick Flyer, then you have a kind of connected loop and more access to the Lake Springfield. On top of that, we also got $1 million for the Grant Avenue corridor. north from where it terminates now at College all the way up to Lost Hill to do a plan and study and some engineering. We got $500,000 in that same pool to connect to the Frisco High Line. So I said that goes from Kearney to Bolivar, but it doesn't really go into Springfield. So it dies at Kearney, and I can't ride, it's right there. You have to get in your car and drive to the trailhead and then access it. We want to find some contiguous path that connected into town. And then all of a sudden you're Bolivar to Ozark through Springfield and Grant Avenue and the Art Museum. And then we have $1 million of like a catch-all of any major gaps that we have in the system for design, engineering, acquisition, environmental, whatever that is.
Is that another grant?
That was that same city council appropriated $4.3 million. The Chadwick Flyer construction, the Grant Avenue North, the Frisco connector, and then the ungap the map, just general bucket.
So is all of your funding off the note of upcoming projects, is it all funded by just government?
Those are all capital projects, so no operational costs come with that, unfortunately.
Any private funding?
We have some private donations and things like that, and we are heavily dependent on donations and private investors into the trail system. We're working on revamping that to make it easier to donate, to help tell that story, and try to get a marketing person on the team to, we've got a lot of capital movement. Now it's like stabilize and execute those projects. And there's a few more in there in the hopper still besides that, where South Creek and Wilson's Creek meet on the southwest part of town. There's a gap called the Bosinki Gap. It's a half mile. It's been a gap for 30 years. There was always a plan to connect the Battlefield Mall to the Wilson's Creek National Battlefield.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So we've got funding for construction there, and we should be going out to bid later this year. We ran into some environmental hiccups. It's just keep moving. And with that, we've got engineering funding to go from Republic Road, where that ends, all the way to Republic High School to try to get that shovel ready as well for construction.
Nice.
So
How about Nixa?
Nixa is a different. Nixa is one of the only municipalities we haven't had a great relationship with, and I've only been here since last March. So we've brought in.
That's too bad.
A couple $1 million.
I've lived in Nixa for 20 years, and I always thought, man, if they could just get down here.
There's a real opportunity near where Kansas Extension ends now, near River Cut. The city and Greene County own a lot of that property, and then Nixa just was donated that Oath Park. I think I'm saying that EOFF on the north side.
I think you're right.
Guin. I don't know how to say that either. Guin. But Nixa's developing a park up there, and you could go across to James and tie into the entire Greenway network if we were very intentional and on the all hustling towards the same direction.
Who can I help?
Help you connect? That's a conversation we certainly should have on getting more involved in Christian County and how to get Nixa plugged in Stratford. Those are two I'd like to have better conversations with, and just haven't had we've got a lot going on. And all positive things. And there's also that $25 million raise grant that's out there that when I worked at the city of Springfield helped get, and that's connecting all the west side of Center City Springfield. It's 3 miles, but then it connects to almost 27-mile loop with all these other connections. And all of a sudden you blink and our system is not these fragmented segments anymore. It's really connected with major institutions like the Art Museum and like the schools in downtown and C Street, and getting that regional connectivity. Like I said, Bolivar to Ozark, we're right there in the middle of it. All the projects are lined out, and if we just did those projects I just mentioned over the next 10 years, we're going to have a pretty great system. I'd love to get up to Fells Lake, have some coordinated route all the way up there, and with the e-bikes and things, that's a reality that we can make some of those journeys and enjoy it.
How about any other gaps you'd like to bridge?
Oh yeah, there's lots out there. We've got the Ward Branch Gap that's just very difficult with easements and private property. And
where's that one at?
That's down south of the Library Center. Of how to tie that into the Kansas Extension and over to River Cut. There's a gap there with Stone Meadows and Weaver. And it's just kind of being opportunistic when a development opportunity arises, or you can get an easement, just kind of incrementally chipping away at those. But there's no glaringly obvious, easy answer there.
Right.
Same thing with Fulbright, up connecting Valley Watermill over to Lost Hill Park or over to Truman Elementary. There's a big gap on the northeast side that we'd like to get connected, but my focus is on the urban aspects right now of leaving a residential area and getting to everyday items and treating trails as infrastructure. We've got a lot of the recreational things, and how do we tie them all together?
Yeah, how about
lots of gaps?
So any other challenges you guys are up against, or?
Yeah, just getting easements and dealing with property owners in Southwest Missouri. There's a lot of don't touch my property.
Yeah, I know.
And I expect that, and I work with that, and it's always respectful, and building relationships and building trust with those people. If they say no, maybe in 5-10 years they come back and are open to that. So
or their family is.
Yeah,
or
never
whatever.
shutting the door completely. And we've had good conversations, and we've had the door shut, and that's part of the thing. A nonprofit that we're not the government, so we can build. There's a little more trust usually with the nonprofit world. The other big pitfalls is just operational capacity and funding for staff and growing the staff. There's Great Rivers Greenways up in St. Louis, and they're sales tax funded, so they've got. I get on their website, and there's 30 staff on there, and I look around my office, and it's like we've got a similar capital budget, but operationally. So trying to do more fundraising, trying to do more marketing, and bring in more donors and members that tell that story of, we're hustling, trying to get this trail system really connected, and we need that support. Still working on that.
Yeah.
I'm not a marketing guy. Let's build this.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And,
that's okay. You need both pieces.
Yeah. So we've got that piece. That's cool. This one's settled, and it's more of, okay, let's get the operational stuff going now. So
right.
we're working really hard to figure all that out, and my board's been great to support that and just execute our mission.
How big is your board?
We've got 13 now.
Okay. Yeah.
13.
I think it seems like I tried to get on the board. Let's see. Was it Krista Schertz at some point? I think she might have been before you.
Yeah.
So she might have rolled off the board at some juncture. And at the time I was on the Habitat board. I had inquired, but I did not get.
Yeah.
I didn't get.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to read the bylaws and figure all that process out. And it looks like we do that in winter and then roll you in March so reach out.
Yeah.
Feel free to reach out again.
Yeah, it seems like that's when it was. It's sometime early spring.
Yeah.
How'd you get into this job? I mean,
I was a neighborhood planner with the city of Springfield. I worked there from 2020 to 2025. I actually turned the job down at first and kept the city. We just got that $25 million grant, and I was getting trail projects and housing and transportation and economic development. I'm a very holistic planner and thinker, and the Swiss Army knife. It's like, man, I can find leverage anywhere.
Yeah.
And after I turned it down, I felt remorse. I was like, man, I should have done that. And I went back, and it came back around 6 months later, and I had enough of bureaucracy of the city. Sorry, city folks. It just was. You knock down a door, and there's another door, and there's always 6 deadbolts, and you kick that one down, and
sure,
it wears on you. And I'm a outcome-driven person. I want to see fruit. Not for me, but for our community. Can I walk to school? Can my kids walk to school? Can your grandkids get to the coffee shop? Can the homeless person safely get to the shelter? Whatever. It's all demographics. It's all ages. It's seniors. Can you safely wheelchair to the doctor's office? So just that basic outcomes is we are able to operate more like a business and go do more.
Right.
And I still work with the city and the counties and municipalities, of course.
Sure, you have those connections.
Yeah, and understandings of how things kind of work there, and it's a good skill to have.
And are you originally from the area, or are you?
I'm originally from St. Charles, outside of St. Louis. I've been down here since 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
Transplant.
Yeah.
What brought you down here?
I went to school at Missouri State for urban planning, and after I after I graduated, I immediately went into homeless services and was doing street outreach with homeless youth, and didn't want to work in an office. And so I was on the street a lot, searching for at-risk and homeless kids in the sewer system and abandoned buildings on C Street and downtown and in the woods. So I very different perspective of Springfield, and that's kind of curated how I see that and why, you know, transportation, 30% of Springfield doesn't have access to a car. And it's like, well, we should probably have sidewalks or trails. And so, and again, it benefits everybody. There's no, you don't need special equipment. You don't need a $10,000 mountain bike. You don't need a kayak. You don't even need shoes technically. You can get out there and walk, you know. So that brings dogs and scooters and rollerblades and wheelchairs and et cetera.
Yeah, I see it all out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
What do you like to do when you're not working? Maybe bike.
Yeah, I used to like biking a lot more because I've taken the job. Like I go out to Fells Lake and I just see work. So I like to bike, mountain bike. I like to be outdoor, camp a lot, travel, and get on the river. So
any particular favorites?
With river? Or
camping, any of that stuff?
Yeah, it's camping. We just got back from Big Bend down in Southwest Texas, and we're just grungy minimalist campers. I have 4 kids, and we'll hop in the car and we'll drive to the Everglades. We'll go to Carlsbad Cavern Cave. We just got back from Onondaga last week and floated the Huzzah and Merrimack with 18 kids and
wow.
All different families.
That's a lot.
It was a lot, and it was anxiety ridden. So when it's fun, with the kids, it's changed. But certainly just being outdoors, camping, escaping civilization as much as I can.
Yeah, checking out a little.
Yeah, checking out a lot. Like we get out there. It's not a campground. It's like I get a backcountry permit, or I go in and drive 4 hours into the desert and I listen, and there's nothing out there, and see the stars, and it's really good for myself and for my kids to grow up.
Well, and I think we're probably pretty good, man.
Cool.
So appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.